Hi there. Hi. I'm going to talk about religion today. Have not talked about religion for a long time. And sorry about that. I haven't talked about religion much yet because I sometimes feel like religion is a personal thing. Everybody comes to their own conclusions about religion eventually. I mean, you may be raised in this religion and raised in that religion, and if you're totally surrounded by a religion throughout your entire life and through everywhere you go, like in certain countries and so forth, where they have only one religion, well, you may not have the capacity or the ability to question the religion, but still, mostly people get to a point in their lives where they, in their own minds, analyze what is the nature of reality, and it it's always very personal in that case. Sometimes a lot of people that belong to religions are actually just lonely, and they want to join something, and so they go into religion to become part of some group that makes them feel as if they're, welcomed. That's one version of religion. But then there are the other people who really are genuinely curious about the nature of existence, which I think is what religion is all about, is the nature of existence. So I try not to talk too much with people about their religions. I talk to my maybe people who are close to me, or even people that agree with me mostly, but even people who don't agree with me, I talk to them about religion. But I don't want to like get in their face and tell them you're just a retard. You're full of shit. I don't want to do that when I'm talking about religion, because it gives them a certain amount of comfort. And I don't feel that it's my place in the world to discomfort someone about conclusions that they have come to. If it doesn't affect me if you think that, you know, Muhammad is the prophet or whatever. It doesn't affect me if you go to church every day and get on your knees and pray fervently to God to bring you money or whatever you want out of religion. It's your business. It's your you came to that decision, and I feel that normally in most cases I just don't want to give people that much of a hard time. If it makes you happy, then cool. That's the way I look at it. Um, that's not always the way other people look at it, though. And that's kind of an irritating thing. They I told this story once before. Maybe I could tell it again, but I'm sure this has happened to a lot of you out there. A lady comes up to me in the parking lot of some, giant store, and she walks up to me and says, "How you doing today?" And she seems friendly enough, and I said, "Hi, I'm always Gabby," and she says, "Have you found Jesus? Have you found Jesus?" And I says, "Well, I didn't want to argue religion again as usual with this lady who seems to be less educated than average." And I said, I was raised as a Catholic," I told her. This is my dodge, to be honest with you. I was raised as a Catholic, so I believe in the Catholics. And she says, "Well, a lot of Catholics become Christians." And I look at her, now I'm irritated, right? I said, "Ma'am, lady, Catholics are Christians." "Oh, no, no," she says. "Oh, no, no. No, they're something completely different. They're not Christians." So I just said, "Ma'am, you know what I think? You should just stop believing in Jesus, because it's a bunch of baloney. You know, you're just believing in a fantasy." And she gets like all upset. All right, let me just analyze that for you. It's okay for her to come up to me and tell me, excuse me, sir, but you've lived your entire life and now you come to no good conclusions all through your life. You're just wrong. And I'm going to tell you here in the parking lot that I know so much more than you know, so that you're wrong. And then she starts talking and tells me that Catholics aren't Christians. So not only is she telling me that I have considered everything in my life and come up with the wrong conclusions, and she's going to correct me now, but she doesn't even know what she's talking about. So typical. You know, what I want to say about religion is, yes, I was raised as a Catholic. And they told me I've read the entire Bible. So I skipped like a couple of books in the Old Testament, you know, like Jeremiah and so forth. But I read, like, I'd say about 80% of the Bible. All the New Testament. I could quote scripture from the New Testament backwards and forward. That's how much I was raised on religion. And I have come to the conclusion that I am not a Christian. It took me a long time and a lot of courage to be able to come to grips with the fact that I just don't believe it. I just don't think that there was this whole liturgy of how the world came to be and how life exists in the world, and that well, give it a quick rundown of my analysis. As God created the earth from nothing. You know, in the beginning it was the Word, and in 6 days he created everything that exists, except for one thing, right? By the way, right? And then he put Adam into the Garden of Eden, and he was lonely. So then he created one last thing that wasn't created before. That was woman. Woman was the last thing that God created in the world, which is kind of an interesting thought, because then it tells you how important women are to the guys who made up these stories, because basically that's probably the most important thing to any guy who made up any story is women. So she was the prime thing. And then it was her fault that she was tempted by the devil in the form of a snake and got Adam to bite into the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, which is the only thing the one thing that God told him not to do, and this woman made him do it. Of course, God didn't tell the woman not to do it, though. But anyway, then God got mad and said, "You're the one thing I said. I gave you all these gifts and everything, and you just did the one thing I didn't want you to." It's like these kids are always like that, And he kicks Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden and says, "All right, that's it. From now on, it's nothing but misery and pain, and you're going to go to hell." And then he thought about it for a little while. He said, "All right, wait a minute. I'm going to give you another chance, see? I'm going to bring my son into the earth, and he will die on the cross and rise from the dead. And if you believe in him, then you can go to heaven. And I'll give you that one last chance." Now, and analyze that. This is his son, and he's gonna die by a terrible torture. He's gonna make his son go this terrible torture, and as a result of him being tortured to death, somehow that's gonna make the original sin that everybody has go away. I guess God moves in mysterious ways, but that's pretty mysterious. Why would torturing your son to death give Adam and Eve a reprieve? It doesn't make any sense to me, So anyway, that was all right. So all that happened. Jesus came along, died on the cross, rose from the dead. Now all these people can go to heaven if they follow Jesus. So what's going to happen eventually, and he's not telling you when, if you listen to half these evangelical Christians, it's going to happen next month. The rapture will come, which is that all the 177,000 people who are the true believers, 177,000 out of 8 billion, if it happens tomorrow, they're going to immediately disappear and go to heaven. So the rest of us 8 billion people are going to have to go through the apocalypse, which is the Antichrist is going to come, and he's going to take everybody over and make you put 666 on your forehead, or you have to carry a credit card around with a chip in it or something. And then that's the only way you're going to be able to purchase anything. Eventually, there's going to be a big battle. It's going to take place in Israel, which looks like it's going to happen soon, right? And then, of course, Jesus is going to come down, and the angels are going to come down from heaven, and they're going to kick the bad guys' butts. And then God's going to sort them all out. And then there's going to be 1,000 years of peace. Don't forget that. And then after 1,000 years of peace, there's going to be a final judgment where everybody gets one more chance to make their case before eternity. And eternity is a long time. As a matter of fact, it's forever. Now let's think about this whole thing. I'm a guy. I live in my life, and I'm a nice guy. I help people when I can. You know, maybe I never heard of Jesus. You know, maybe I've heard of him only in rumors, but everybody in my neighborhood is a Buddhist. You know, everybody around me is a Buddhist, so I'm a Buddhist. So I never got to follow Jesus. And then all this stuff happens. I die, and then they say, "Well, did you follow Jesus?" No. Well, you're going to hell. Or, you know, that's one thing. But another thing is, if God loves me, then why would he treat me so badly? I'm not such a bad guy. I treat people a lot better than God ever treated people. If he sends me to hell forever to burn in the unquenching fire, I mean, if he does that to me, then man, he doesn't seem very nice. He seems kind of like a mean, rotten, nasty kind of God, and I want nothing to do with that God. That's kind of, you know, I finally, this is one of the reasons that I stopped being a Christian. I finally got tired of feeling guilty, feeling ashamed. Oh, I'm ashamed. I masturbated. Oh, I'm ashamed. I looked up Susie's skirt. Oh, I'm ashamed. I ate too much. I ate meat on Friday. Oh, I got tired of feeling ashamed. I said to myself, damn, man, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not feeling ashamed anymore. You know, if I do something really wrong, maybe I should feel ashamed. But just nothing that doesn't affect anybody but myself, I don't think I should have to feel a bit ashamed about that. You know, so I said, to hell with it. I'm not gonna follow any more of this gotta be ashamed, gonna go to hell business. I'm done with it, you know, and that's, you know, that's the end of that.